Okay, so this is a informal tutorial on how to make a ring or a spherical object from a Illustrator um, uh, illustration file. Okay, so I'm going to start with Illustrator and open up a recent file that I have done. So here's a design that I've made. I've designed it so it will link back to itself. And the first thing I have to do is I need to save it as a older file. So I'm going to call it links 3 just so I have one here. And I need to make sure that it's saved to Illustrator 8 because Illustrator 8 is a simpler file without a lot of fixins on it, and Maya is not compatible with all the effects in Illustrator. So Illustrator 8, you'll have to save it as Illustrator 8. Say OK. Now I'm going to go to Maya, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Create Adobe Illustrator Object. I'm going to import it as curves. I'm going to create that. And I need to find it, which was links 3. Okay. So you can see it's there. It's very small, but it's there. So as it is a curve, if I clicked it, you can see these are made with Illustrator curves. So it's not polygonal. We're not going to be able to print it. It has no materiality. So we essentially need to fix that. So while you have this as curves, if you go to the Curve Surfaces tab, while that is selected, as long as this is one solid object, not multiple objects, and there's a very clear inside and outside, you can take your design and press the planar effect. And what that's going to do is it's going to turn that into a plane. It's going to fill it in. You can see how it's filled in now. Now, you can see this is still over here a surface. It's not a polygon. So we need to turn that surface into polygons. I'm going to go to Modify, Convert, NURBS to polygons. So NURB surfaces to polygons. I'm going to go ahead and open up the dialog box so you can see what we're all going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to convert it to triangles. These settings seem about right. I'm going to go for it. It's a little low poly count. I'm going to back up. And let's try that again. I want a higher poly count because that was a little low. I'm going to modify, convert NURBS to polygons. Oops. And let's change it by count. And I'm going to move the count up to twice as much, just so we have more resolution. Somewhere around there. And I'm going to do that. That's better. We could always make that more, but I'm going to go for it. Okay, so when you create polygons from NURBS, you can see that it actually creates something from something else. So you will not only need to physically separate them, but you'll want to probably delete the history of this so that these things are no longer connected, because I don't think we need to connect them anymore. So I'm going to edit, delete by type, history. All right, so now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and extrude it so it has some materiality. I think that should be fine. I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to use this effect called Deform Curve Warp. And what that's going to do is it's going to deform whatever object I have according to a curve. And so I'm going to start with a regular old circle. And it should be as simple as selecting the object first, hold Shift, select the curve second, and do Deform Curve Warp. Now, it kind of does it. You can see, I'll just go into, you can see from above that it is actually wrapping around there, but it's not quite fitting. So if you select the curve and go over to the curve warp function, you'll be able to play with some of these things. So first, let's do, just so you can see some things, we'll play with offset. So you can see that kind of moves it around. Actually, we'll move it all the way off. That's no big deal. Let's do mesh scaling. So I'm going to scale its length. Clearly, I need to move that offset in here. And the length is up to 2, so you can always, with Maya, up the scale by just adding an extra number. So that, I think, I'm getting a full loop. Now clearly it's stretched, so you can work with the max scale, which is the other direction, and you should be getting, I'll select it, increasingly circular elements. All right, I'm going to say that's good for now.